acting regional commander, 2 others interdicted. Good news and worrying development there as well. We'll be looking at some of the latest regarding the security situation in and around the school and how the police is dealing with it. Review ex gratia, former Council of State member recommends. The Daily Graphic led with that story. And of course, one of the stories we'll be looking at onto this edition of the program. Vice President unveils Ghana Pay mobile money service to promote financial inclusion. That story is fully captured on page 16 of the paper. It has the picture of the Vice President, as you can see. ECG scales up security as it replaces postpaid meters in Yellow Krobo, and that also story dominated. Of course, we're looking at rising energy prices and how it is impacting all that. The Ghanaian Times, today it's led with government secures $24.9 million loan for mechanization plants, and that has the picture of the Finance Minister, Ken Oforeta, and some development partners in there. You want to read more on that story, grab a copy of the paper, go to page 16. SNITS rolls out electronic scheme to ease payment of contributions. Quite some good news as the service moves to enhance its service for the convenience of its clients. 538 physician assistants inducted. That story is also fully captured in there to this edition of the Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian Times rather. Plug loopholes in procurement processes. Chairman Sabonsu to MDAs. Quite a good call as to how this would be adhered to help reduce the leakages, to plug the loopholes and ensure that we reduce losses year in, year out, quite in huge sums, which is causing more or less difficulties for all government in terms of revenue performance and channeling it to more or less development projects. Graphic Courier marks second milestone. Repair works on motorway completed, and this morning we are learning of quite some good news in there. We try to establish contact with our reporters on ground to tell us how the sort of convenience it has created for motorists. Be measured in expectations as Antahini to labor unions, but government must ensure equity and consolidate democracy devoid of impunity. Attorney General charges African countries. NDC, the largest opposition party in the country, marks 30th anniversary repositions for 2024. We'll be touching briefly on that as to what the 30-year journey of the NDC has been and how the next couple of years or decades or centuries will be for the Green family. Ghana exceeds targets, over 22 million trees planted, and it has the picture of the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister, the Honorable Benito, in there. Quite some good work as we enhance the green architecture, green environment, ensuring that we reduce carbon emission. Repair works on motorway cause heavy traffic and 3 teenagers drown. That's also on page 6 of the paper. Producer, let's start with the conversation. In the course of it, we'll be raising any paper that may contain the stories that we have to help viewers appreciate the story and set the tone for the discussion. Let me introduce my guest for today's conversation. On my immediate left is the Honorable Amidu Ishaku Chinya. He is a Member of Parliament for Sisala East and, of course, my slave in the studio. And he is also a Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources. He'll be helping us with the conversation on behalf of government in the studio and the New Patriotic Party. Just after him is the Honorable Daniel Ashama, who is a former Member of Parliament for the Boem constituency. Honorable, thank you so much for your time, gentlemen. Honorable, you were giggling when I said my slave is in the studio.
Yeah, I know if I should ask for explanation to be a long story because we've stopped slavery several years ago. And so that is why I just...
This is on a different level. We'll be discussing it later. Okay. But let's quickly zoom into today's discussion. Let's start with the call for the review of the ex-gratia. The payment of ex-gratia to Council of State members has been topical in the last 2 weeks after a former member Togbe Afede returned more than 365,000 cedis paid him. His rejection of the money has reignited the debate for the scrapping of the payment, and many have questioned the relevance of the Council of States itself. However, some have defended the existence of the Council of States, describing it as an important aspect of our governance architecture. But where do you stand in the debate is the big question for us this morning. Where do you stand in the debate? And of course, will be the WhatsApp line is active. The number is on your screen. You can share your thoughts. We'll be reading it in the course of the conversation. But let me start with you, Honorable Shama, on this one. I want to get your thoughts on the existence of the Council of States.
Existence?
Yes, whether it is relevant in the first place.
Thank you very much, Sunny. And I say good morning to our viewers and good morning to my brother. Though you did not ask me about S. Gracia, but I will accept that. I think my brother has not yet enjoyed S. Gracia from Parliament. And you'll be deciding whether to take it or not. Actually, the existence of Council of State, to me, is a good thing, in generality. Because, as it is, the members of Council of State are to advise the President to enhance the social contract that he has with the people in terms of policies, programs, and their implementation. And it is said in our local parliament that one head cannot take a decision. So if you have people who are so close to the President to help him to take decisions that will near to the benefit of the development of this nation, for that I agree. What I did not agree is a type of Council of State that and we will be paying, and we will respect, and we will be giving the S. Gracia. But things that we want to see, that maybe they are supporting or advising the President, or we are not seeing them.
Things like what?
Now, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a demand on the executive to bring a list of workers at the presidency. And it will be so surprising to see that allocations are made, or somebody was appointed to be a religious liaison in the presidency, and they are paying that person. Diaspora liaison in the presidency, and they are paying that person. So you ask, is this known to the Council of State members or not? Because much as religion is good, I am not against it. They have the chieftaincy and the religious minister is there. The foreign affairs minister is there to work and give report. So where the liaison again and be paying for that? That is where when you compare and ask yourself, so do we have these eminent people of Ghana advising President? Is it known to them, or they don't know? So if they don't know, even though they did not come out to say, then you ask yourself, with whom is our President working with in taking decision and expending our resources? So me, it is good when they work well, as I said earlier on, but it is very bad and leads to dissipation of our limited resources. If some decisions should be taken, but our eminent people, members, and me will come and question that decision. That is my worry.
Isn't that democracy, giving you the chance to criticize when you think their actions or inactions are not in the interest of the public?
It is good to criticize, or it is good to question, but it is very bad to allow your child to question even why you drink, because it is not even not to that level. Do you get me right? Paying people, you know, you are going to expend the nation's limited resources. And then upon doing all those things, we ask them whether they've actually did a value for money analysis. What we are giving out, what are we going to get as a nation? What we are giving out, what will be the impact on our children, on the nation, on the citizenry. So when such things are analysis and it doesn't jam, then you begin to ask questions.
Am I getting the impression that you are saying that the Council of State is not serving the purpose for which it was created in the first place?
For now, there are questions to ask, like I've just asked.
Do you think they are serving the purpose?
I said, in generality, that should be the case. But when some questions that are, elementary are asked, our eminent people, then you ask yourself, so do we need them? I think we need them. I have accepted that we need them, because in critical moments like today, we need more heads to actually sit and look at issues as they pop up. If we are paying somebody who is becoming a religious liaison or diaspora liaison, are we thinking about the fuel price at the pump of the citizenry? These two, which one will impact both negative or positive on the citizenry? Because when you are elected as president, you are to come and undertake the social contract to see to the welfare and the development of the nation. But looking at some expenditures that we see as we see them today, they are head aching. And that is why I may tend to think that at this point in time, the Council of State, their work, I'm not saying Council of State is not good, their work is not so welcoming.
Let me bring in your colleague, your former colleague, Honorable
is
Amidi.
That a former colleague?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, I mean, he's in Parliament now. You are not, so.
So you are calling on him?
Yes.
Okay, I thought he has been there and out before I
so
sorry.
You heard from Honorable Ashama indicating that I'm getting the impression that he's saying, as it stands now, the current the Council of State is not serving its purpose. Is that something you agree with?
Well, Sonny, let me say good morning to you and good morning to viewers of your esteemed station, especially my constituents, and to my big brother.
Big but small.
But nature, you can't challenge nature.
That is very good.
Nature has made you bigger.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, I think that the issue of ex gratia has become a very topical issue, and we need to holistically look at it as a country. For me, as a politician who in my current position stands to benefit from ex gratia, will not want to benefit something that the generality of Ghanaians are highly against or do not accept. So we need to have a national discussion and take a stand that is in the interest of political leaders and the citizens in general. The Council of State and its relevance for me is not in doubt as enshrined in the Constitution. But certainly, every institution sometimes will have its own shortcomings. But the purpose which the Constitution has created the Council of State is not something that is questionable. It is for them to advise the President as senior citizens who have gone through a lot and have a lot of experience. And when you look at the caliber of people who are on the Council of State, I mean, you quite agree that these are seasoned Ghanaians who have a lot of experience, diverse faults, and are in good position to advise any president. And so my view is that the purpose for which the council has been created is good, and the caliber of people we have on the Council of State, I have no doubt that they have the experience and the knowledge to advise the president. But the question of whether they are actually performing their duties, I mean, is something that is debatable. Some people certainly agree they are doing well, others may not agree. But it's something that we can all interrogate and see whether they are actually living up to expectation.
Do you think they are living up to expectation?
From you know, they do a lot of work that the public is not aware of.
Work like?
I mean, there are a lot of things they advise the president on that is in camera. That myself and you, we don't get to know until we ask questions. And last time they published some of the things they have done in the last 4 years, I was amazed. It means that whilst we are sleeping, whilst we are working, going around our work, they are also doing a lot of things that we don't know because they are not, I mean, obliged to advise the president in public. They are not supposed to come on TV and tell Ghanaians that this is what we are telling the president, these are the things that we are doing. But if Ghanaians ask to know, or people question their work, certainly they will come out with some of the things they've done. And so what I saw they have done in the last 4 years is quite impressive. Even though in every situation you still expect I mean, room for improvement. But I think that they are doing well so far, but there is room for improvement.
In the last, let's say, 20 years or 30, since the start of the Fourth Republic, have we had any instance where the Council of State opposed what the executive has proposed to the nation? We've seen many policies that people have been on the streets to agitate. It appears their work is more of rubber stamping what the executive has proposed to the nation than getting them to, let's say, criticize and provide realistic kind of views and measures that may enhance the governance of the nation.
Well,
because we cannot say since the start of the Fourth Republic, the executive has always been right.
It cannot be. It cannot be.
And we've not had one instance where we've had a divergent view from the Council of State.
I cannot immediately recall, but I have heard somewhere, I mean, under previous governments and even the current government, there are issues that have come out the Council of State has disagreed with. But I can't point to, but somebody has whispered that, but once I don't have the facts, I wouldn't want to. But it's something we have to look at, because you can't have an institution that is supposed to counsel or advise the president always 100% agreeing with the president. It will confirm that it's a rubber stamp kind of institution, and that will not be good for our democracy. But I don't think entirely that has been the case, even though I cannot immediately. It's something that I'll have to cross-check. But somebody has ever whispered that even in the past, there have been disagreements between the Council of State and the President.
Let's bring in Robert Sharma. He has also been in the space for quite a long time. Have you had any instance like that where...
Yeah, and a very asogly paramount chief king, Togba Fede, during the Ejapa deal, there has been some ding-dong battle at the Council of State, where they even call on the chiefs to maybe oppose that. And to me, that is even led to his going out of Council of State, because elections were conducted after that, and he has to be voted out. That is my perception. And but if we want to come to ex gratia,
we'll come to that.
So to me, that is
so let's
and even a time ago, but you see, there was a problem between late former President Rollins and former Vice President Kensi Aka, when they said that he pulled him in the meeting. So it has been happening. It has happened before, and it has happened again. Yeah.
Both of you have agreed that the Council of State is still relevant, but looking at it from the point that the president, under all regimes, appoints special advisors, technical advisor for this and that, economy, social policy, and that stuff. And these are people with the expertise advising president on how to maybe shaping policies. And I was wondering, if we have this kind of mechanism and the fact that the advice of the Council of State is not binding, should we still keep this creature and be expending taxpayers' money when the advice, after all, is not even binding?
To me, we don't have to scrap it off. And this is where there's difference between political parties in this country. And if you sit down and take a casual look at the regimes that has come before and the one that we are in now, you see a vast difference. So if we have a Council of State and the President who chairs, and that person is a listening chair to the Council of State, you see a lot of difference. And I cannot fault that for every regime or every president. Because there are some decisions like the one I've mentioned, you dare to ask that, how did this happen? The Council of State meeting, how does that happen? That people of some levels will be paid. You see, so sometimes it is not the Council of State members or the council itself that brings about this problem, but the person who is chairing may take a unilateral decision or may not even inform the members. That is what we should look at. And so to me, the statutes that make that or bring that to existence, we look at it critically, whether it will be necessary for Council of State members to be chaired by the president, or no, okay, we have the chairman actually, or how can we fashion it in such a way that some decisions will not come from maybe the president to change the decision of the Council of State members? Because as I mentioned this time, you realize that this Ejapa deal was a ding-dong battle. We've heard it. So we need a Council of State members or a Council of State that will actually work towards. In fact, if the leaders or the powers that be allow them, I know very, very well that they will work very hard to the benefit of this nation. My brother, why is it that we have a Council of State? These eminent members have children, grandchildren, and we will not focus on providing even tables and chairs for them, rather than doing things that the citizens will be questioning. Why? Because they are that apex committee. And you know, the Council of State members, they take proposals from ministers too, as the type of project that they want to undertake. They sit on the round table and discuss and do critical analysis to it. Why are they not forcing for this project to be undertaken after they have accepted? And that is why I say that the parliament of today is the president's parliament. That is how the constitution made it. And that is what is very, very bad. And so what the president wants to be done, I'm mentioning president and I'm mentioning president, not the political party. What the president himself, not Nanado alone, want to be done, that is what to be done. Because he has appointed somebody in parliament called the Minister for what? Parliamentary Affairs and leader of government business. So whatever comes from the presidency, they will tell you, oh, Council of State have taken a decision on it. But whether that decision has been what? Mafiaed or not, that you cannot tell.
That's when they have a favorable number in the House. As it stands now, we are seeing a lot of policies are having difficulty passing through Parliament because it appears to be hung in nature.
And that is the good thing God has done for this country, for us to have a hung parliament. But we are not even learning from it. We continue to talk about it on the political benches. Oh, because of you, this part. No. Why should the Speaker of Parliament, with 130, now they say 136, 137, I don't know, it's 136, 136, I don't know, sit down for a particular project that will not inure to the benefit of the people, then you pass it for the Minister of Finance. Or the Minister of Finance can just go and take money from our coffers, as if we don't have laws in this country. We let it fester. That is bad. So we are still working on it. But let me tell you, if a party in government have even 5 majority, or like they had some time ago 69 majority, do worse things, and they did it. With all due respect to Professor Michael Kwe, he oversaw those things happen to this nation, and he doesn't care. He was there when he passed this Ejapa deal in the House. Why should we say no, it is not good? He was there when this PDS was passed. We say no, it was not good. They used the majority to pass it. You ask the Council of State members, what has been the benefit of these two bills that are passed through parliament to the nation. So these are some of the things we need. Sonny, what we need today, I'm calling on Ghana, we need to review our constitution very, very fast. And even put a clause that when there is a president and he leaves office, he must be tried. That is why all these things will go.
You're departing from the position of the NDC because you introduced the indemnity clause.
Yeah, I said we should review. We started it. The time we're putting up this constitution, MPP was not part. I will not blame them. But it is 30 years old. We need to review it and review it quickly.
Okay.
So when you say NDC, I agree. But today, where we have gotten to, we need to review it. And also, if you review it, any government who will capriciously destroy a citizen's business must pay for it. Because we are doing this and we are killing our business. When you say, they say big man, you call, who is that big man? They will never tell you. And we are suffering, people's businesses are being destroyed. Whether it is NDC president or MPP, CPP, that clause should be in the constitution. You lose everything and we should even chase your properties because you have destroyed somebody's property because of political expediency. And that is what we must do for this nation to move forward.
As it stands now, if you think your property was destroyed wrongly, the court is there for you to seek remedy. If you have a strong case.
I don't have any case against the court. I am saying that that must be in our constitution. Okay. Very clear.
I'll come back to you. Let me bring in another media. Well, a quick bite on that one.
Yes, first of all, let me, my big brother said something that I need to clarify. He said His Eminent Tugbe Afede's exit from the Council of State was as a result of his position against is it Ajapa deal? I don't think
it's my personal
yes, but you know people are listening, so we need to clarify it. The thing is that he, by our constitution, the president of the National House of Chiefs is a member of the Council of State, and 4 years back he was elected the president of the National House of Chiefs, and by virtue of that election automatically he qualifies to be on the Council of State. And so he served on the Council of State for 4 years. And the National House of Chiefs, like any other institution, does election every 4 years. And so if after his 4 years he went for re-election and lost, that cannot mean I don't see any underdealings or the fact that he was against Ajapa accounted for his the failure to be re-elected, because the members of the National House of Chiefs are reasonable people who understand what they are about, and at every point in time make a decision as to who they want to lead the house. And so I don't think that it has nothing to do with his stance against.
Okay, I think that point.
I agree. Oh no, I'm not going to drag it. I agree with him, but you should know that there is a weather behind the scenes. And once I was in Parliament before you come.
Are you indicting the National House of Chiefs? Because these are members, and these are members from across the country.
Here, you cannot say something here and say it's your personal view.
I just want to find out whether there has been a ding-dong battle about a Japa deal in the Council of State. If there has been, then I arrest my case.
Honorable, if there was,
I arrest my case.
If there was, but it cannot be the reason why paramount chiefs from across the country.
Sonny, I arrest my case.
That's your perception.
I say arrest my. Well, the ding-dong battle and the Japa deal is not my perception.
Yes, but you still don't have the basis to say it caused his.
I arrest my case.
Okay,
but we have behind the.
Quite quickly on this one as we wrap up on this subject. There have been calls also for, even if we will maintain the Council of State architecture, the remuneration should be reviewed. They should not be part of Article 71 office holders and take salary at the end of the month and take ex gratia at the end of their 4 year stay. Is that something you side with?
Very well. I quite agree with it to a large extent, and not just the Council of State. For me, even the perception about ex gratia on all eligible people under that article is not helpful. let me ask you this question. Just cast your mind back about the MPs that you know, former MPs. Have you seen, my senior brother is here. He's a former member of parliament. Has anybody seen he become parliament?
When you see of the ordinary taxpayer,
you see, the perception is that the ex gratia is so much and politicians are making so much money.
400,000, nearly 400,000.
But at the end of the day,
that money.
At the end of the day, when you find people who have left parliament, who are former ministers, you don't see them.
But they were paid in parliament.
Yes. So the thing is that we just need to look at our whole political system, because as a member of parliament or a minister, I mean, the demands on you, sometimes you give support based on loans that you take.
Demands part of your job description, or demands
it's not part
you have assigned to yourself because you want to?
You don't assign to yourself, but you have constituents who are bringing problems on the table and you cannot ignore them.
But there is a job description, right?
Yes, there is.
For an MP.
Yes.
And anything you do outside this scope is you doing it personally. And
that is why I quite agree that we need to review the concept of ex gratia and let Ghanaians know that, or they come to the conclusion that nobody is having superior or an advantage over any other ordinary Ghanaian worker. We need to review it so that that perception, that hate.
You think there is hatred?
It's creating hatred. It's creating anxiety.
Genuine concern, because if I'm a public servant, I serve for 20 years and I only take my pension benefits, and you serve in parliament for 20 years and for 5 times you take ex gratia, you think I should not be worried?
Well, when you look at the dynamics of the job and what members of parliament go through,
what are the dynamics?
It's complicated. You are a Ghanaian. You know what goes on. You have an MP. You come from a constituency.
If you can
I don't need to tell you. You know, every Ghanaian knows. You know how you deal with your MPs. You know it. You know about the funerals. You know about the outdoorings.
Your job mandates.
You see, people don't work with only the official mandate that you have. The unofficial things that come your way that you have to resolve, because you represent the people.
Of your own will.
Well, it's your own will, yes. That is true.
Let me use you for example.
You see,
when you went,
the system also dictates what happened. There are some countries, the way they run their democracy, you will not find the citizens or the voters making certain personal demands on their leaders. For instance, in America and the UK and other jurisdictions, you don't find that. All what the citizens demand is public work, education, health service delivery, agriculture, whatever that benefits the majority.
You think if you provide all these and somebody asks you to cater for his
we are still growing. The challenges, sometimes you also accept that as a politician, the difficulty in the system compels some of the citizens to come to
your own goodwill.
Yes, because there are real challenges that confront the people. Some are unemployed or underemployed, and they don't get the needed resources they need, and so they have no option than to, even some people who are not in political position like yourself, there are people who come to you making demands for help.
And help as and when
you have, yes. So those has become part of our structure. But going forward, we need to restructure the system by reviewing ex gratia, so that nobody is seen, whether a politician or whatever, is seen to be having an advantage over the other Ghanaian workers. I seriously think that it needs a review.
You also support the call for a review, Honorable Shama, that we should scrap
for Article 71?
Yes.
In the community of Article 71, the members of parliament are becoming endangered species, in which case the load on members of parliament that I know will not permit me to sit down here and say that the ex gratia should be scrapped in totality. I will make exemption for the members of parliament, not because I've been a member of parliament.
Why?
The truth is that the judiciary, some officers in judiciary, are Article 71 members. So also the executive, Article 71 members. Now, we've never seen those who are appointed by the president to take positions that qualify them to be Article 71 persons, to be doing campaigns. We've never seen them. And so also to our dear legal luminaries. We don't see them campaigning. But even some of them, they have maids who are being paid because they are Article 71 members. Who pays MP's maid? Who pays MP security? And then they can even take, some of them take the vehicles that they were given. They give them vehicles. But members of parliament pay for the vehicles. So that is why I say in the community of Article 71 members, members of parliament are becoming endangered species. It is understood, written, that members of parliament are representatives of the people to go to parliament and make laws and support the government for the governmental agenda. But like my brother have said, which member of parliament campaigned that if you give birth, I'll come and do adoring for you? Whatever we say, they'll say, you people campaign, you promise. Who promised somebody that when you have accident and you are at the hospital, I'll come and pay hospital bill?
So why are you entertaining that?
Because of the elections. I must be frank with you.
So you're only interested
You need to be voted for. And the understanding of the people at the grassroots level is that you are representing us. And once you are representing us, whatever we demand from you as our representative, you ought to provide.
Oh, I disagree with you on this one.
You disagree because it is not on the paper. When you go and take the constitution, you will not see it. But that is what it is.
So it is a clause that you have entertained.
It is not that you've entertained. Somebody says, oh, register and vote. Say, oh, I'm tired. I will not vote again.
So you bribe the person?
No. It's not about bribing. The person put his needs on the table. Do you get that? Look, if it is election day and people didn't go to vote, it shows who this country is at the international level. So members of parliament have to whip up that sentiment among the people that go and vote. Whether you vote for me or not, go and vote. Now the person says,
by sponsoring their naming ceremonies, marriages and other social activities so that they will go and vote, their civic responsibility.
They vote once in 4 years, but within these 4 years, when somebody that you ask to go and vote, whether the person vote for you or not, you ask him to go and vote. He did. You don't know the person he has voted for.
So he did you a favor by voting?
I don't have evidence, but my ambition or my wish is that there should be a majority of registered voters voting. After they have done that, oh, no, you saw that the other time you came, I was even sick, and I went and voted. Well, today I'm not feeling well. Oh, I am hungry. Oh, give me something. Will you say you not give? Will you say, let us call a spade a spade? You will give. Another thing is that the reason why I will not allow for ex-gratia to be scrapped for members of parliament, they can scrap it for all the Article 71. But the reason is that MPs take loans to even, now that even their statutory funds are not coming, and you have problems, you have to go to bank and take loan and service your constituency.
That's something.
It is not that government is not being responsible to pay.
You are in parliament. If you are also a responsible member of parliament, for the want of a better word, you also push government to release the funds.
That is the issue.
Because if you go to kind of secure any loan, that's your bed.
Yes.
You go out of, you still have to be servicing the debt.
My brother, I agree with you that we should push the government. 5 quarters gone, the 6th quarter. Government is not releasing. Do you think they are not pushing? Didn't you hear the Speaker of Parliament complaining that government is starving Parliament?
So you tell the electorate government has not.
So will you agree, as Ghanaians, will we all agree with the Speaker of Parliament that if the President, the government or the Minister of Finance did not release funds, we are going to shut the Parliament? Will Ghanaians agree? I am asking.
In the US, we've seen when there are challenges, for example.
So will you, if that happens, will you sit down here and tell Ghanaians that you have campaigned that this should happen?
So will you be blamed if government has not released funds and you're not able to execute the projects that you need to do in your constituency?
Where will be blamed is that when you have constituents who sees you as their representative, who sees you as their last resort.
You are discerning enough to know that certain happenings are out of your control.
My brother.
Unless you want to just entice them so that you win the next election, which has been the major problem.
I wish you nurture an ambition to become a member of parliament. They'll ask you, so are you not being paid? Your constituent will ask you, so if they don't release come over, are you not being paid? Now you might have taken loans for other things, the car that we are riding on. You are paying for it. And other maybe rentals and all this, you are paying for them. So you don't even have money on you. Take it that maybe it is like January 2021. And then February, March, April, somebody comes to you that he needs money. Do you get it right? You've not taken S gratia. You have taken those who were there to took loans to go and campaign. The campaign we are talking about is that...
Honorable, I don't know if you will agree with Honorable Asham. If you take loan to go and campaign, your burden.
Yes.
Shouldn't be the burden of the ordinary taxpayer.
The campaign is not done by just talking to people. Have you listened to this?
So you are paying your way?
It is not like you are paying your way. When you even take people to go, when you even carry people along to go to communities to talk to them, they are losing the whole day, remember. In the evening, will you give them something when they are going
to raise funds?
From which people? Poor people or who? Where are you raising the funds from?
You belong to a political party.
No, political party, we don't have it financing the members of parliament. We don't. But it is, I'll give it to you. But it is these members of parliament.
We have 2 minutes to wrap up.
Yes, who stand to contest. So take my example. I took loan. Let me tell you, I contested. I lost. So what do you think my future?
How did you service the
how did I service? When the thing that they are calling S gratia, but to me is small, but salary arrears came, the banks have to take the money, and I have to thank my wife. I still look fresh. So thanks to my wife, because people are not finding it easy at all. So that is the situation. A member of parliament, I tell you my story.
We will expand this conversation, but I think it's entirely you're doing by choosing to contract loans and those stuff to fund your campaign activity, and that should not be the burden
once the person
of the ordinary electorate.
Once the party does not ask me to go and take it, I agree with you. But it will take you time to contest and know how to win elections.
I'm giving you 30 seconds.
Well, the first clarification I want to make is what my brother said about the outstanding arrears in terms of statutory payments. He talks about 5 to 6 quarters, which is not the case. I think that at the moment we have 3 quarters that are outstanding. Not
and
6.
that impedes development.
That is not good enough. That is
3 quarters.
That is not good at all. Not good enough, but not good.
How many months? 3 quarters is how many months?
But I just want to state that it is not 6 or 5 as he has said, but 3.
Okay.
And that is not good.
I will not challenge that.
The other thing I want to say is that, you see, when he talks about aspirants taking loans or mobilizing their own resources to campaign, no. Okay. But the point is that in other jurisdictions, members of political parties willingly contribute to the party because they see themselves as stakeholders, and their perception is different from our system. In our system, you don't easily find members of a political party, whether NDC or MPP, voluntarily contributing and paying their dues as is required for you to use that to run the entity as is required by law. Okay. So most of the time, the burden is on the leadership. However you find money.
That's a justification for you to
go. It's not a justification, but I'm just saying that you are compelled under the circumstances to raise money. And one of the easiest way you can raise money is to go for a loan. Because you can't go and steal.
Is it by force for you to become a member of parliament if you don't have the means?
Yes, but it becomes your responsibility to pay the loan. You cannot, of course...
And that shouldn't be a basis for you to call for the continuous existence of that.
You see, I also want to add to his call on the members of parliament as an exemption. Even to that extent, we can look at the way it is done. For instance, I have said that as a member of parliament, if I come to parliament for the first 4 years and I am given a loan to buy a vehicle, for instance, and I get re-elected in the next 4 years, for me, I should be exempted from car loan. Because that vehicle I got in the first 4 years can at least take 8, 12 years. Those exemptions can be done.
Okay.
But at least the first timer should be given the opportunity. So also, in terms of ex gratia, if you are a continuing member of parliament, do you have to collect ex gratia? Maybe it should be at the end of your service.
Okay.
If you are there for 8 years, after the 8th year when you have lost or you have voluntarily left parliament, then you are paid ex gratia, that kind of thing.
Thank you so much.
We can look at those reviews.
I tell you, the only time the politicians agree is when you talk about their benefits and rest of it. You just see the MPP and NDC in the studio agreeing on this important conversation. Let's go for a break. We return. Don't go away.
I'm Dr. Ted Spear, pastor of the Fundamental Baptist Church International in Kumasi, Ghana. I'd like to welcome you to join us here on GTV every Saturday morning from 6:30 to 7 a.m. Please join us as we discuss the Scriptures each and every Saturday morning. God bless you.
Kings and nations tremble at His voice. All creation
bus takes off again on a trip to sizzle your Saturdays for another stimulating journey across Ghana and Africa. Season 1 was spectacular and Season 2 is equally scintillating. Tour are well prepared to tell Africa's story in an exciting question and answer banter, impressed by the currency dollar. Ghana man or Mr. Victor Owusu. Don't let the current bus leave you behind. Join the trip, refresh your memories, and learn a whole lot more.
Good morning. It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
So what's your pleasure? Samvotras, yeah? At that time of the morning.
You want it served buffet style, complimentary breakfast?
On-site restaurant.
Or room service.
We've got you covered.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
With a trusted team.
So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still weekly press and wrap-up analysis program live on GBC News and also on GTV. We're also streaming live on Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Keep your comments coming. In the course of the conversation, I'll be reading it for you. Let's move on to our next subject, where the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has indicated that the legislature is interested in the police investigation into circumstances that led to the alleged firing of tear gas by police at the Islamic Senior High School in Kumasi on Monday. He has thus directed the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament to engage with the police and report back to the House on Tuesday, June 21, 2022. At least 38 students of the Abreport-based school had to be rushed to the hospital after police allegedly opened tear gas on them while they were demonstrating over what they said was frequent road accidents in front of the school. We are aware that the regional commander or the police chief that led or gave direction as far as the incident is concerned has been removed. 2 others also have been interdicted, and we are waiting to see what the investigation would further unravel. But it has become a norm for police officers to be interdicted when issues of this nature happens, and you don't often find the finality to this matter being brought in. That is a really worrying trend for those in the security space who have been following happenings in that regard, and also all of us as stakeholders in the country. We start the conversation with Dr. Prosper Nino Teado. He's a defense and security analyst to help us appreciate all that has been happening, how professionalism and crowd control, riot control can be enhanced as far as policing is in the country. Doc, if you can hear me, thank you so much for your time.
Hello.
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Let's start with your take on all that has happened on Monday in Kumasi as far as this issue is concerned. What do you make of the conduct of the police and the students as well?
Okay, thank you, and thanks for having me. First and foremost, let me say that this is a very worrying development, as others in the past. And a second issue has to do with the sorry side that we saw in the state in which these kids were being put in ambulances and taken to the hospital. I don't think that we should wait for things to get to the stage. And let me explain why. In the first case, students have grievances. Now, you know very well that car perhaps has hit a student, and as a result of this, they have demanded for speed ramps and all that. Nothing is being done. If things like this happen, I would have expected first and foremost the school authorities to maybe engage urban roads or something to just mount, and roads are constructed. Once they just lay the road, it takes so many, sometimes months, before they do road signs and speed ramps in front of schools and all that. It shouldn't be. Okay, so if people were up and doing and performing their task, speed ramps would have been there because this is a school area. There would have been a sign mounted, road sign mounted there for students crossing. These are just simple things that does not require somebody from somewhere to come and tell anybody. You do the necessary things to go with it. Now, if students had grievances and authorities knew about it, I'm sure they would have spoken to some teachers and all that. It was for them, the leadership of the school, to take it up with the authorities to do something. So that in itself is a failure in the first place. Be it as it may, that students then got agitated and got onto the roads. Now, the student demonstrations, as it goes, you know, does not necessarily require permission. It's spontaneous. I mean, I've led student demonstrations, during university days and all that. And normally, for students of that age, crowd control and all that must be done in a very professional and efficient manner. You will notice that normally when the police go for riot control, we've mentioned this over and over again, they don't carry the necessary gadgets that help the task. Okay, a shield, even if students are pelting stones, can adequately protect police with a required helmet, with buttons. And there are even sounds you can make to scare people to go to a particular area. And while arriving on the scene, if things are not too unstable, the leadership of the students who are demonstrating can even be engaged. They'll make a lot of noise, they'll shout, and they'll go back. I don't know the dynamics of exactly what happened, but what we saw meant that something went wrong somewhere. The riot control was not done properly, and also that preventive measures could have been taken to avoid what happened.
Doc, it's becoming the norm in terms of riot control as far as the police service is concerned. What do you think is the problem? Is it an issue of training, capacity building? That's the service, some officers in the service are lacking? Or what do you think is really the problem?
The problem is this, that we always hear that the police undergo training and graduate from the training school and are fit for purpose to perform their job. But the ultimate of police service is professionalism, is efficiency, is effectiveness. Rule of law and order is a major task of the police, and it is required of every police station to have certain basic equipment. And riot control is very critical because sometimes people don't ask permission before they go on the streets. So in training, the basic rudiments of riot control must be comprehended, and this requires simulation efforts. So I wouldn't know exactly the nature of training in the police academy, but they must have the needed resources, like I mentioned, to undertake simulation exercises in terms of riot control. Now, if you look at these students, they are quite young.
We seem to be having a challenge with the network. We tried to establish connection with Doc for a last question I want him to answer regarding how moving forward some of these occurrences can be averted. But let me come into the studio. Honorable, you saw all that happened. The video is quite worrying, and I don't know for the type of elements. The Speaker has directed the Defense Committee to look into the matter together with the police and report back to the House. Quite worrying development.
Well, I agree with you. It's a very worrying development.
Okay, now let's pick the last answer from Doc so that we settle in the studio for the committee. Doc, we lost you briefly.
Yes, so like I was saying, I was making the point that when they go for the training, simulation exercises are very key. You simulate exercises for training students, different kinds of people who are embarking on maybe party demonstration. Know what to do. As it appears, sometimes it just appears like please just go there because they have guns and they can just force people to do what they want to do. It does not necessarily work that. The hallmark and said people must be trained and they must perform their task very well.
Okay, Doc, very finally, there have been concerns that often when issues of this nature happen, there is no closure as far as prosecuting who is at fault or ensuring that punitive measures are administered to those that offend or do the wrong thing. And that's in the service has emboldened some officers to continue to conduct themselves in a manner like what we saw. Is that really the case? And do you think the Professional Standards Bureau, the PIPS in the police service have been effective in ensuring that culpable police officers are punished?
I think partly that is the case. Closures are not brought because when recommendations are not made, punishment is not effective. So people think they are linked to power and they do anything and they go scot-free. That breeds impunity, that breeds lawlessness. And if that continues to happen, people will continue, like you see, taking the law into their own hands. You saw the way the parents expressed anger and all that. I think we've got into this stage where it's not everything that the IGP must run quickly to go and see what has happened before something takes place. The structures must work. Okay, so when people are found to be guilty of an offense, let them go through the necessary sanctions and let it be published for people to hear this was what was done. They make inquiries and people are supposed to be punished, but they reassign them and put them elsewhere. What would you expect? We are not learning lessons. We come on air all the time, we make suggestions, but you don't see them being implemented. It is for the betterment of ourselves, our families, and the country that we do the right thing. Else, if we don't do these things, one day those who are in charge might see relations and loved ones involved in this, and they will then really understand the gravity of what people go through when some of these things happen.
Doc, thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us this afternoon. Dr. Prosper Nino Teado is a defense and security analyst, and he's been helping us to appreciate what happened in Kumasi from the point of his expertise and what should be done going forward to avert some of these. Let me come back to the studio. Honorable, I brought you on the floor briefly before Doc got back on the line, and I wanted to pick your thoughts on all that has happened and what you think should be the way forward.
Well, thank you. Like I was saying, I think the speaker was spot on. As a state institution, I mean, we as a parliament is concerned about whatever that happens, especially when it concerns very young people who are the future of the country. And so the speaker, like you read, has already directed the Defense and Interior Committee to liaise with the police and report to Parliament. That tells you the level of interest. Let me also, I've seen the Member of Parliament for that particular constituency, Honorable Asensibuache. He has been to the school, he's met the students and the staff and all that. I mean, it's all good. But the security analyst, what came to my mind is the first point that he made. If that issue had been addressed, we wouldn't have even gotten to the point of the police coming in. Because if you look at the concerns of the students, it's a genuine concern that a road by the school, vehicles are knocking down people and causing a lot of accidents, and they are likely victims of such accidents. And so if they brought this to the notice of the school authorities, what did they do about it? And I don't think that the students would have just come out to demonstrate without first of all complaining to the school authorities.
That's why the investigation is important.
Yes, because it was an avoidable situation. If the student had complained and the school authorities did nothing about it, and it has resulted in all this, then people must be identified and punished. Because as school authority, you must be responsive to the needs and aspirations of the students, especially when their concerns are genuine. And this particular concern is a genuine one. I mean, if you have a school bypassing the school, a road bypassing the school, which the students will always use, and they see that people are being knocked in, day out, they must be worried, because any of them could be the next victim. And so if they've raised the alarm bells and the school authorities did nothing about it, and to get to the point for them to demonstrate, it means that there was no leadership.
Okay.
If they had shown leadership, I don't think that would have gotten to the police intervening. Even though I also agree that the police intervention was reckless, because students are people that you don't expect they have cutlasses, you don't expect they have guns and sophisticated machines to attack the police for you to go and be firing live ammunition and tear gases. They could have found a very nice way, because all of us have gone through that system. If the security come and they conduct themselves well and they are appealing to the students, they will stop and listen to them, and then they will advise them and listen to their concerns. They will make and then you assure them of taking it to the appropriate quarters for redress. How come that they went there, they couldn't do anything to at least calm the situation and had to get to the point of firing live ammunition and tear gases? It was quite irresponsible. But I am very interested in how we even got there.
Okay.
What did the school authorities do when the students complained? Once we all see that their complaint was a genuine one, how come that no action was taken to the extent that the students have to demonstrate?
Very legitimate questions, Honorable Shaman.
Yeah, I also agree with him at the tail point where you have come, because even the majority leader have said that hardly has it passed 1 week that they don't experience accident at that spot. So like Dr. Ni Note Adosi, but I would like to say that investigations should continue. Let us see, because a second cycle school, this type of thing will happen. And then we say that maybe the headmaster or the school authorities have never reported. Let's leave it to the investigator, because I believe they would have reported. Because if we should link this to what the majority leader said, that means this is not the first time. And as they were doing that, one of their madam is at the hospital, being knocked down by a car. So you can imagine the situation. But
I mean, my younger brother completed that school, so I know well what is happening there.
The question is, I learned the road is asphalted. So the time they've asphalted the road and there is a school there, what prevented the contractor to put a ramp? You see? So it is a whole lapse, institutional, not only the police. Because now we are get to know the reason why, or we'll get to know the reason why the ramp was not put there. Whilst we have a school there, SHS students or school is there. But I just want to come to think of it. The security lapses has been too much of late. And it is getting some of us so worried, day in, day out. And on top of it, when things happen like that, you don't even see the president talking about it, as if he doesn't care.
But I mean, structures should work. There are institutions. The IGP has been there. The deputy education minister has been there.
The regional member of parliament has been there. The regional minister has been there.
The president. What do you want to hear from the president again?
Look, I don't have anything against the president, but he's the one we have voted for, and he promised.
But the regional minister is his representative in the region.
Yes,
so if
you cool. The reason why even the going of the IGP to that place, I don't like it. You get it right.
Why?
The reason I don't like it is that when you continue to do this, and you have this 20 spots in the country in a day, how will you do? Will you visit all? So you should learn to be in office and take a phone and give directive if your commanders are not.
So on one breath, you don't want the IGP to be there.
As for the president, that is his job. He goes and sympathizes with the people.
The regional minister has gone to do that. He's his representative. And
it is not only Islamic SHS I'm talking about. Several things that has happened. You see, you put them Ayawaso, West Wogon, then you move to Techiman South, then you move to Ejura, then you move to Ekranza. Now we are in what? In Kumasi. You see, all these things. Can you tell me that even the president has stood on a platform and comment and commensurate with the people?
No, you have to be fair.
Please, cool.
Please,
I'll give you the chance.
Look. You and police what to do. You want always to be shielding the president who we are paying.
Not at all.
Did you see Joe Biden moving to accident scene to commensurate or even lay flowers there? What does it take from our president?
We've had instances where the president has visited.
So mention. I have mentioned mine. Mention yours. I have been monitoring him closely. Now, if we have the IGP going to that place, and because they have to go to that place, oh, this person should move. Yeah, the people were interdicted, right? So they should allow for investigation to go on very well. Because it is not always good. You are taking the shine.
Odona just here, a few minutes drive from GBC. The president was there to commiserate with the traders who lost during the fire outbreak last time. So he asked me to mention he was there to commiserate.
We are talking of where there is security lapse. Okay, that one is one of the law.
It's a major issue.
Yeah, I agree. Those that are mentioned, where soldiers that we are paying, policemen that we are paying, take a gun or look at this tear gas, and we're asking about how they are trained, that when you are meeting students whose ages are not above 18, will you go and shoot tear gas? Will you go and shoot tear gas? Danfari, I like him. I love him. I don't want to say something. Because we have to find out, when you look at the budget and the type of money that they have been giving to the security sector, and these things will be happening, you will marvel. You will marvel in billions. You will marvel as if they don't have water cannons, they don't have shields, and then always you use tear gas or live bullet. I think this is even the first time that they are using tear gas, because all that you have been hearing, bullets. Meanwhile, we give you a lot of money. What is that? And nobody should shield anybody from talking and making the president. I've never voted for you. People have voted for president, or I have voted for president. Don't ask me whether I vote for Nana or not. People have voted for president, and he is taking our money. He doesn't buy anything. So why can't you just go to the scene when something happens? You say, you and people, whenever they say anything about Nana, that's what. Don't do that. That is why you have been to where all of us have been cheated. Let us talk to him. Speak to power. I'm not going to insult my president. He is my president. But where he's doing and it is not good, we have to tell him. We have made him Look at Accra.
You just said that the IGP, when there is, let's say, issue at 20 spots, he can't be there, so he should be designated. Do you think the president can be at all centers?
I am calling the president back because he has never shown that sympathy when somebody is shot down and dead. You mentioned this place. Yes, I agree. That is 1/100. He doesn't have that candor to lead us. That when something happened to you, you come there and say, oh, sorry, why should 8 people be shot at a man? President has never been there. I wish to see president there and say, oh, sorry, parents will look into the case. He has never done that. Always police, always police. And Dan Pari, a very good friend, now you are spoiling your business. The leadership style is not good. I did administration and management. The leadership style, when you do that, you take shine off your commanders. And so nobody, you see the ladies shaking hands with the IGP. Everybody is forcing to shake hands with the IGP. That should be the regional commander with the district commander. Be in the office. You have all the gadgets to call them to make sure they work. You delegate powers.
But the president cannot do that.
No, what I'm saying that president is not going to do anything about security when he goes there. Just to commiserate with people and leave. He has not been doing. These people they are talking about. You see that Dan Pari have to go and take money to buy iron rods. Did you see that? President cannot go and do that.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let me do the final bite before we move on to.
I mean, my brother's concerns are, I mean, they're genuine, but we need to be.
They are very genuine.
Yeah, we need to look at the facts of the case. I mean, President Nana Dodoko Akufo-Addo has been one of the president that has always got in touch with Ghanaian citizens as president. There is no president that moves across the country and gets in touch with the citizens as much as Nana Akufo-Addo. There is no president in the history of the 1992 Constitution. There is no president. He visits every region every year. He visits constituencies. There is no president that has been doing that.
He mentioned Ejura.
The vice president was there. Governance is not about the president. It's a presidency. The vice president was in the interior, the defense ministers, they were there. It's high-powered delegation. I mean, it doesn't.
He was referring to the symbolism of the president.
He himself says that the IGP cannot be to every place.
Yes.
On the other hand, he says the president should get to every place. Is it not contradictory?
It is not.
It is. You are saying the IGP shouldn't have gone there because he can, if there are 20 seats, he can go. He has to delegate. But when it comes to the president, you the same person, you are saying that the president there should get to every place. You mentioned Ejura. In the case of Ejura, the vice president was there. Is that not the president? Is that not the presidency? In the case of Techiman, the interior minister,
you are taking another disposal.
I said that is the presidency. You see, we are talking about the presidency. Nanado is the head of the presidency, but he works with ministers. He works with the vice president. Wherever he delegates any of them to go, he has been there like that. And all these things that you are mentioning, there has been high-powered government delegations going to all those places. So you cannot be right on that score.
Okay. Let's move on to our last subject of the day. The Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, has said the National Cathedral project will rake in more revenue for the state upon completion. Speaking on Talking Point on our network last Sunday, Mr. Ofori-Atta said once completed and fully operational, the National Cathedral was projected to raise an estimated $1.8 billion within the first 5 years of operation. He said, and I quote, with a conservative estimate of 300 to 400,000 attendees per year, we expect the project to bring in at least $1.8 billion in the next 5 years. He says government is mindful of taxpayers' money being used to support the building of the National Cathedral and is strategizing to ensure that monies pumped into the construction are recouped within the short possible time after construction. For him, the current economic challenges should not deter the state from fulfilling its responsibility to build a monument that has huge investment potential. The project has come under heavy criticism after a leaked letter showed funds had been released, allocated without Parliament approval, and this has dominated the news space in the last week or so. Let me start with you, Honorable Chairman, because the NDC has been raising concerns over the allocation of the funds without Parliament approval. And I was thinking the Finance Minister has fairly dealt with the question of importance of the National Cathedral in that interview on Talking Point last Sunday.
Sammy. So until when will we allow our Finance Minister to continue to deceive us? E-levy. And how much have they collected? At least they've gotten some few months. How much have they collected? You see, to me, I don't hate Finance Minister, but I don't even want to see him. I don't hate him at all. He has deceived this nation into debt. Into debt of 1980s. Where the chairman of MPP re-echo the words of Buzia. Kafwa Didi. Kafwa Didi. Did you hear that word before? This is where Ken Ofurata, who is always praising himself, has sent us to today. He will come and paint a very nice story. It is this, it is that. Even the cathedral is building, and he has made the estimate. Have you seen those estimates? Have you seen them? Who has seen them apart from him and the president? Who has seen that estimate? So we allow this person, and you're also telling me that he made a very fair what?
In terms of the importance of the project.
And do you believe, as a young man, do you believe?
It's a question I'm asking you. I don't answer questions on the
they
platform.
Remove the fair, because it is never fair. It is very unfair.
To you, it may not be fair, but we have a chunk of Ghanaians who do not find anything wrong with the project itself.
My brother.
The question of resource allocation and whether it was done legally or illegally is a different subject altogether. And it's a conversation we are building up.
Thank you. But I want to accuse you directly before the cameras are off. You see, the issue of this cathedral, whether we praise it, a type of revenue we are going to get, is that, did he act in good faith with the financial management practices of the constitution of this country, even by taking the state's money?
Okay, before you continue, let me get your colleague on the platform to answer this question. Very important question. I'll give you the chance to continue with the submission. Did that happen?
Well, I need to do further checks, but what I know is that it was contained in the 2018 budget. But
contained in what form?
About the provision to support the cathedral building.
I have read the 2018 budget, the 2019, the 2020, 2021. You only hear of the cathedral project being mentioned, but no figure has been assigned in terms of allocation. And am I getting the impression that you are surprised that revenue has been allocated even though it has not been captured in the budget?
Well, like I said, it was contained in the 2018 budget.
It was mentioned.
Okay, but I am not abreast with all the facts surrounding the payment, and so I wouldn't want to say it was right or wrong, because you need to have very clear insight before you can make a judgment.
Okay, so now I agree with you. You don't have full facts of the matter.
Yes.
So now I'm telling you that I have read the budget from 2017 to 2022, and there is no one CD allocation contained in the budget regarding the National Cathedral project.
Well, then,
will you be surprised?
Well, I mean, we need to get the finance minister to respond to it, because he is managing the finances of the state. He's been presenting the budget. I mean, he has to explain under which circumstances those payments were made. Because as I sit here, I don't have the facts under this why he did those payments. But I cannot say he is wrong until I hear from him. Okay. So we need to get the finance minister to explain the circumstances leading to the payment. But like you said, as for the importance of the cathedral,
I'll get you to touch on the importance. He posed the question I wanted you to respond to, so let him continue. I'll come back to you.
That is the question you cannot not answer. You give me a very difficult question to answer. When we finish, you say that. Look, let me tell you, when you take budgets, this is 2020 budget statement. This is my last budget statement that I got. And when you go to page 233, where government put up its what? Flagship programs. Flagship programs. Yes, there's no cathedral here. And monies are allocated. They were even able to even allocate 6 million, you see, for just government communication. It is in the flagship project. They didn't put cathedral here. Now, it is different. It's okay.
Let's hear.
No, it's not contained in the budget. I have read.
It is not there. Look, you people, you see, as you are my colleague. It is different for finance minister to come to the floor and read the speech. But when it comes to how money will be expended, you need this. It must be captured here. That is why you can become president. This structure is there. So the amount of money you expect to receive and then how you dispense it off based on projects, it is not there. So the issue of whether we are going to get, even if we are going to get 20 billion, if you steal state money by that act, it is stealing because you did not inform anybody, you did not send proposals to parliament, you did not get the parliamentary approval, the public procurement authority does not give you the go-ahead, you've taken close to 200 million Ghana cedis, and then you said that it is in the which budget? So parliament and they are saying that you did not do it. Is it out of incompetence or ignorance for us to give this position to this person to come and look into our face and insult us with this type of words? He knows very well what he should do. And then he was even saying on GTV that, oh, he doesn't know why the members of parliament are saying this, it was in the... Where is it? Where is it in terms of estimate to approval? Because when you bring the proposal, it must be referred to finance and, should I say, housing committee, joint committee. Then they will look at it, look at your estimate, bring the report to the plenary, and then they will debate and give approval or otherwise. Has he done that? That is what we are talking about. And that is why we sympathize with the clergy who are always being looped and disgraced. So they are not my target, they are not my target. But the person who swear oath to handle and dispense our resources, limited resources, according to the Constitution and the Financial Management Act of this nation, and you did not do that. Do you know the reason why Charlotte Osei was kicked out of office? Just procurement breaches. Do you know why Woyome's matter was up $50 million Ghana cedis? Yes, they say he doesn't have a contract. So if you go and take close to 200 million Ghana cedis and you don't have any document, and then you come and tell me...
What do you mean you don't have any document?
This estimates, this is the real document when we talk of money. So that they will look at it, the program. Some people were saying that, excuse me, ignorantly saying that the money is coming from the president. Even the presidency, the government machinery, the estimates are here. You go to the appendix, all the estimates are here. Where is cathedral here? So we are talking about the law and how to take the state's money. Whether that cathedral is going to bring us 7 billion, we don't know. Because if you steal somebody's goat and keep it and you have 1,000 goats, they are stolen goats. Do you get it right? So the benefit, fine. But can we ask them, if you are allocating what? One district, one factory. You've allocated money here, which is 150 million. And we have not finished them in 2020. They want that to build the economic status of Ghanaians, for them to get jobs. And you didn't do that. And they want that they rather go and pay a poor person. You are building an edifice for a poor person to go and pay after doing which job? After stealing or armed robbery. That is what we must question. So this leads to the question of the competence of the person. Nanado has appointed our finance minister and he has bleeded the coffers. Right now they are looking for another 1 billion, or they say they are going to give them. and people, we are taking it as if we are not going to pay. You are going to pay. So now if you are already in 369 billion of borrowing, 369 billion of borrowing, and you are going fast to take another 1 billion, you change it into Ghana cedis close to 8 billion. You add it to this one, where are we going? The nation is bleeding, and it is bleeding profusely.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
Because of the finance minister.
Mr. Isaku, you don't think you don't think that all this controversy could or would have been avoided if this expenditure line was captured in the budget, especially when the government has indicated of the enormous importance of the national.
Well, I will want to call on the finance minister to give clarity to this matter. He needs to, I mean, as citizens, we need to understand under what circumstances this expenditure has been made. But I wouldn't want to draw any conclusion that it was illegally paid. We need to hear from him.
You think it's legal? It was legally paid?
Well, I can't say so because
you're a member of the government.
Yes, but I can't say so. But the fact that I'm a member of government doesn't mean I am abreast with everything or ever happening in the government. There are certain things that if you don't have knowledge about, you do, or you are not.
For example, let's say the latest allocation, 25 million Ghana cedis. Let's say the 200 million Ghana cedi allegation or claim is not true.
The point that I'm making is that let's hear from the finance minister. We need clarity on this matter. So I will want him to talk to the whole of Ghana. He should let us know what accounted for this payment. Until we get there or hear from him, we shouldn't draw conclusions. But the point I really want to make is that this cathedral, I mean, I don't have any issues with its construction. It is a good project, and the president's proposal is good, and it will help the country, like the finance minister said, in terms of tourism and revenue mobilization. But we need to build national consensus on it, especially that the government has set up a board of trustees. It has more or less become something political, in my view, where it appears those of us in MPP seems to be defending it, and those who are in NDC seems to be opposing it. I think that it's time the board.
Is the NDC opposing it now?
Well, they've always opposed.
Because I mean, in this, at the onset, I've heard the NDC opposing.
Yes.
Coming from the argument of the priority consideration. But now the conversation is how we are expending state money to the project, and not doing it that in how the laws has directed us to do.
I mean, that is why I have said, with respect to that, I wouldn't want to go into it because I don't have facts. I will want the finance minister to speak to all of us. But I'm just saying that the board of trustees will need to engage Ghanaians further. They will need to engage especially the two bigger political parties to let all of us get a buy-in, because this is a national monument that we are constructing. If people have disagreement or reservations about how it is being done, I mean, you need to engage them. You need to bring everybody on board so that at the end of the day, it becomes a project worth doing, and you have every Ghanaian being carried along. At the end of the day, it's not going to be an MPP project. It's going to be a Ghana's project. So I will want to entreat the board of trustees to find a way of engaging the two major political parties, and whatever shortcomings that they have or concerns they have, they will try to address them so that they will carry everybody along. It will be helpful.
Okay, that's all that time will permit us on this subject. Let's go for a break. We'll return with your messages and discuss our last subject of the day. Stay with us.
Wednesday at 9:05 a.m. live on GBC News, Unique 95.7, and all GBC regional stations, and on Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and a repeat on the same day at 11 p.m. on GTV. Focus, putting the issues in perspective.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's time to usher you into the program, as a lot of messages have come in. We need to read this so that you feel part of the conversation. And this one says, MPP president has failed as a government. We are facing an economic crisis, and we insist on spending all the money we have, which can financially limit costs if it is incurred in a hardship we are facing. I don't get the message. If you can send it again. This one says, good morning, Mr. Sani. The NDC man is on the right path, I think he wants to say. And this one says, Assalamu alaikum, Sani. In fact, the Boem former MP is confusing us a lot. He starts questions well and ends up by politicizing every issue through to him, and also accepting every rebuttal you ask him. Salam. And this from Sani Mohammed Tamale. They say you are deviating from the conversation. So a lot of messages in there. We'll read the last two and continue with the conversation. And this one says, this is Saidu from Saidu Bamson Jr. watching you live from Tumu. Is such a leader that the entire youth in the Upper West region is proud of. Honorable, we give you invoice because people are campaigning for you on the studio, which we don't allow here. Hi, we are proud of you, MP, watching you live from. Honorable, you may have to help me with the rendition here. Okay, and
that
this
is
from
the community where I attended. I had my basic education.
Oh, okay. So a lot of your people are watching and they are impressed. And this one says, good morning. Please, some of our service persons are not well trained because some act like they train them. Please look at YouTube shooting in Abokobi. You will understand. So he's making reference to, and this one says, I think it's about, he said, you the host, you made the NDC man laugh. You ask if it's by force to become member of parliament. So if you don't have money for campaign, you shouldn't borrow. Fantastic presentation. They are matured enough to engage in debate from different political parties. No disrespect, but patriotism. And this one says, hi, Chief. I suggest the Council of State should be independent of the President. Our parliament should be truly separate from the executive. And this one comes from Kofi. And he went on to cite example. He said, in some countries, example, France, political campaigns are partly financed by the state. And this brings into question the conversation about whether the state is ready to fund political parties. And, of course, we check whether we have the muzzle to do. Honorable, you are saying they should because you contrary loan to support your campaign and you lost.
I'm no more in parliament. I'm no more in parliament.
And, let me read the last two. This one says, I think I've read this one. A lot of commendation for you, and I'm not going to read it. This one says, very intelligent host. Thank you. There should be a review of the Article 71 service holders. Of course, a lot of people have been
that prison. You are reading it.
I read one for you.
Look at the Gunja man.
Hello, my brother. Honestly, the so-called Council of State is a complete waste of time, according to him. And resources, facilities, and public schools are broken down. Some villages are drinking with animals. Innocent children are learning under trees, and you're wasting this monies on the Council of State. Honestly, this thing called ex gratia should be scrapped. We are not serious at all in this country. Thanks. And this from Kojo Community 25. That's his view on the whole matter. And he said, hi, this one I think is for the morning show, I guess. This one says, are you guys servants or kings of us? You don't pay fuel fee, electricity, water, and still thinking of ex gratia. God is watching you all. You're taking it far. You can express your view without making it too personal. And this one says, good morning. I like that man's presentation. Though I don't know his name, the Constitution should be reviewed and also review the concept of ex gratia in totality. A comprehensive research should be done, not limiting to the ordinary street or market folk to seek their understanding and views. And that's, he said, thanks from Mopenti Evans. Thank you so much for your messages. A lot of them, we cannot read all, and we will, in the course of the conversation also, and be reading your messages. Of course, we'll be doing that every week. You are part of the conversation, and your messages are very important. So, of course, we'll be doing that every week for you. But let's bring in our guests in the studio for the last part of the conversation. We have some 20 minutes to wrap up this edition of Weekly Press. And I saw a lot of your constituents sending thumbs up, but I don't know if you are sorting them proper.
Okay, you have to pay.
No, not exactly. You see, the good thing is that I visit the community almost every week, or I mean at long 2 weeks.
You attend funerals,
yes,
and dish out money to support funerals.
How much money can you dish out? You only the little support you have, you give. But considering the number of people you are dealing with, how much money do you have to financially satisfy people?
Okay, let's zoom into our last subject of the day. Rising fuel prices are adding pressure on households already struggling to cover basic costs of energy and food. In the face of this, commercial transport operators have hinted of a further hike in fares after the increase of 20% that we saw last month. Well, there are calls for a review of taxes in the price build-up to help provide some cushion to consumers, but as to if that is feasible, what will be the impact on revenue also, which we know the state needs to more or less execute developmental projects to enhance socioeconomic development. The big question remains how sustainable such a move would be in the face of skyrocketing oil prices that we are seeing on the international market, and also that's largely as a result of the Russia-Ukraine war. And we are seeing some producing nations, of course. Russia is a major producer of oil, and it has cut production and disruption in the market as a result of the geopolitics, together with our also domestic challenges. We are seeing the situation not being looking good for us, and the consumers and transport owners are all trying to find a common ground on the issue. We'll try to engage the Institute for Energy Security because they made their latest projection yesterday. They are forecasting that the prices may go up by some 15% or so in the coming days, and that will mean further burden on the ordinary consumer. Honorable Ashama, quite worrying that continuously the fuel prices are rising, and it seems not to be coming an end, looking at what's happening on the global front.
Yeah, Sonny, fuel prices are rising, but we voted for people who should handle this situation. And so we expect them to handle the situation. And more so, when they were coming, they told us that they are very competent. They are very, very competent. The average Ghanaian is today suffering. Buying fuel or transportation in terms of businesses, you suffer the charges and the transport fares. It doesn't matter if Ukraine and Russia are to fight 10 years. We have president and government. Vladimir Putin and Zelensky are not our president.
But we don't live in isolation, right?
We don't live
We are affected by happenings on the global front.
And at the same time, we say we have a sovereign state and we have elected people to manage the economy. So they should manage it. Let us see, so that things should come down for us. Because when somebody tells you that I am very competent and it comes and we are seeing this mess, don't blame it on anybody. You know, during Mahama time, they said there is Dumso. He's incompetent. Fine. Do you know, Ghanaians complain because they have money. The economy have put money in Ghanaians' pocket and they want to do business. And there is no power. Today, the power is there. And there is no money in your pocket to pay for the electricity tariffs. So you take these two and ask yourself who is competent or incompetent. That is what they must do right now. And if you have these problems to solve, and you are still telling Ghanaians that when you build cathedral, you get 1.7 billion, then you are insulting the citizens of this country. Because that is where we put economic question, that human needs are unlimited, but the resources to satisfy them are limited. And in that situation, you need to list your what? The needs that you have, and draw a scale of preference. So MPP is telling us today that after drawing their scale of preference, cathedral is more important than cushioning the citizens economically. That is why Mahama put down the energy sector levy, that in times of difficulties, the president can just come and say, fellow Ghanaians, we know there is Russian and Ukraine, but because we have saved so much from energy sector levy, we are using it to cushion you. That is what we expect from
But Honorable, I mean, from where I sit as a financial journalist, the UK, the US has stronger buffers that could provide any sort of cushion to their consumers. But we are seeing fuel prices also reaching record high in those countries as a result of what is happening.
Yes, I am saying that when they vote for you as president, do you think everything will be rosy? It is because of problems that we have today and those that we'll have in tomorrow. That is why you are put there. The time COVID came and Joe Biden was distributing checks, did you receive some in Ghana? Why are you comparing yourself to them? When they give their people some relief, you don't talk about it. When their things are going out, then you tell us, why should Togo's inflation be lower than ours? Is it not a sovereign state? We are also a sovereign state. So we must our leaders to act and act positively, because that is what affects our lives: education, transportation, business, paying of utility tariffs. So in terms of difficulties, what do you do? The time Mahama's time came, Dumso was there and they went to Senchi. They were insulting Mahama for going to Senchi. So you now today you have a problem, and you say we should be blaming Zelensky or blaming Putin. Is Ghana part of Russia or?
But we don't live in isolation. There is a direct impact.
As at the time we're having Dumso in this country, do we live in isolation? Didn't Mahama go and?
Was it a global problem?
Well,
this was a global
this problem. We don't price fuel in Ukraine in cedis. Are they eating our cedis here? We talk about the exchange rate and what makes our
so those are
now
genuine concerns.
Yes, because the economy is bad. You come, you close banks, you destroy people's businesses, you close borders. How do the economy get money? Those are the decisions that are affecting us today. When your wife is pregnant, it takes 9 months to deliver. So the problem we are facing today is the rot that they have created from 2017. And we have to tell them in the face. You don't have to mince words. And stop blaming Russia. Russia told, their ambassador told you people, stop blaming us. If Russia is not in this world, will we die? Will Ghana be cleaned off on the world map? Let us do this as people. We have everything. Nana told you. He told us. Now you have come. And we are in worse situation.
Okay.
Nobody should be putting blame on it. Let us look inside. The importation. You say one district, one factory.
So,
if we have
I'll come back and ask you what should be done in the context of all what's happened.
Your time
the recommendation.
is not enough. I wish you were.
But let's go on the phone line. We've been joined by Fritz Moses. He's a research analyst with the Institute for Energy Security to help us with how we can deal with this issue. Fritz, quite worrying that we are still seeing oil prices rising and we seem not to have a solution for the problem. We've lost Fritz briefly, but we're trying to reconnect and get him. He works with the Institute for Energy Security. In fact, they've made a forecast yesterday predicting that oil prices will rise further, and that will mean you paying more at the pumps, and the conversation has been around how can this problem be solved and what should be done. In fact, they are asking for the Tema oil refinery to be revived so that in the context of what's happening, it can provide some cushion to the consumer as to how this feasible is. Fritz, I lost you last asking what should the managers of the economy be doing at this time, looking at the combination of factors, both domestic and international, that we seem not to have control over, driving fuel prices up. Fritz, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. You got my question?
Can you come again on the question?
Yeah, I was asking what you think the managers of the economy should be doing at this time round, looking at the combination of factors, domestic and international, driving oil prices up.
Thank you. Basically, we understand and appreciate the lessons that we've been speaking in the government for years now. Since we continue to rely on international markets, we continue to source our products from international markets, we won't be susceptible to whatever is happening there. But of course, our city too has not been helping the situation. It keeps getting worse and worse by the week, and that unfortunately being the case. What we are projecting, or what we are essentially telling the government to do now is to look internally. And of course, it doesn't seem that it's not as if we don't have the capacity to do what we can do internally to increase our local production limits. We say that we have a refining, a refining, which we believe is a better shape to increase production, start production, and the increased refining of petroleum products on the local market to reduce the cost that we are currently seeing. So what we do is that if we can make proper use of the oil that we are employing in our field, we tend to cut down on the various taxes and the various prices that have been experienced over the last few weeks and months.
Fraser, I was wondering, if you look at the capacity of Tema Oil Refinery, somewhere 45,000 barrels it can refine a day. And looking at the consumption of the country, if we are to go by what you are saying, what sort of impact will it have on the ex-pump price?
Well, yes, the oil refinery ideally doing around 45,000 barrels. But, you know, it will be quite interesting to let you know that we don't even have, we are doing just around 25,000 barrels with only the EU working now. So that don't have
Fraser, can you reposition yourself a little for me? We are finding it difficult hearing you.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, it's better.
Great. So we understand and appreciate that Paul can only do about 45,000 barrels per day. But the position we say is that even if Paul can do 45,000, why wouldn't we let it do that? Because at the end of the day, it tends to reduce the impact that we are forced to have on the on our total reliance on international markets. If we have at least 50% of petroleum needs in Ghana, petrol needs in Ghana produced locally, we wouldn't be seeing prices skyrocket as we are seeing now.
And Fred, if you look at the government focus in terms of refinery, it appears more attention and investment would be directed towards the creation of the petroleum hub in Western region, other than investing in Tor.
Well, it appears so. But our position is that the people that are poor are the same people that you would need to work in the corporation like the petroleum hub. Now, those workers and staff are feeling very bad about the current situation. Of course, their salaries are not being paid. There are several incentives that they used to get are no more going. Even the healthcare is deteriorating, and we treat some of them. And now they are considering options of moving into Nigeria to the Dangote refinery to go and work there. If you are losing all your workforce in such a manner, your petroleum hub ambition would not necessarily materialize because you don't have the people to actually do the work that you need them to do. And even aside that, what we've said is any investor, any Ghana, we want to see what you've been able to do so far. You've had Tamale Refinery for over 7 decades now. How is it that we still maintain our current capacity for Tamale Refinery? Why isn't investment money to increase Tamale Refinery from 5,000 to be doing way beyond 100,000 by now? And these are questions that we believe that if governments cannot answer efficiently, investors may be drawn back on moving on with the Petroleum Hub project.
Fred Moses is a research analyst with the Institute for Energy Security and has been helping us to understand how government will address the issue of rising oil prices, which is culminating into rising fuel prices at the pump and the burden on the ordinary consumer. We have less than a minute to leave. Honorable, let me give you a chunk of that because Honorable Ashama was on the floor.
Well, I think that the rate at which fuel prices are increasing is worrying because it affects every aspect of our lives. It affects food production, it affects, people have to travel around to get things done. And so it's a very worrying situation. But the unfortunate thing that our friends in the NDC keep saying that doesn't help the system is the fact that we all know that there are local factors that are influencing the increases, and there are also global factors. And so it is not just a matter of mismanagement of the economy or depreciation of the cedi. Yes, the cedi to the dollar ratio is a factor, but of course,
a major factor.
It's a factor. But the increases in the price of fuel globally is also affecting. The most stable economies are experiencing fuel increases. Cost of living is going up. It's not just Ghana. I'm surprised he was trying to talk about Dumso and the Mahama. Dumso was internally created. It was a problem of how we were managing our energy sector. It was local. It had nothing to do, it was not influenced by any foreign factor. But today, if anybody says that fuel prices is not influenced by international factors, then you are not being honest. And that is why across the globe, every country, fuel prices are going up. And so, but it's not a pleasant thing.
Thank you. Honorable Shema, I owe you a minute the next time we meet.
But he even spoke more than me.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. This has been Weekly Press Review. Same time next week, we will come your way with the major headlines in the papers. Until then, enjoy the rest of our programs. My name is Sani Abdurrahman. Enjoy it.